I'm right now walking in Boston Commons, which is the earliest public garden. It's all free every day. I walk through this place. It is $1 million view. And today, friends and family, how are you today? I'm gonna talk about the communication in academic world. I will talk about this through a story called Lorenzo's Oil. It starts with last time when I was in Denver. I was one day late for the meeting. However, there were people didn't show up at all. The first day, there were supposed to be 25 people showing up to the meeting, but ended up only 8 of them showed up. I was told that they kept calling and saying, we're in downtown, we're gonna be there very soon, but nobody eventually showed up. 8 people showed up, and the second day, early in the morning, 8:30, I was sitting in a meeting room. It was all by myself and waited till 10 o'clock. Finally, somebody came. I was just wondering why people just so reluctant to show up in these meetings, and some people just think it's totally a fake meeting. There's no sense to join here. Actually, it depends on how personal these meetings get. This reminds me of a story about Lorenzo's Oil. Lorenzo was an average kid when he was 4 or 5. He was quite smart and a very lovely kid. Everything's normal. All of a sudden, he started to have problems. Like his hair fell off, and he couldn't talk right, and he couldn't do some coordinating movements. And eventually, they figured that he got a weird disease that is he could not digest a kind of saturated fats. So for decades, a lot of scientists were working on this topic, but nobody really dig deeper about this problem, because actually this is a very rare disease. Who cares? 1 out of a billion people would get this. It's really not that personal for that for those general public, but for Lorenzo's parents, his mom, his dad, and Lorenzo himself, that is very personal. So Lorenzo's dad went through a ton of documentations, dissertations, papers, and figured this enzyme is that enzyme. For decades, people were looking at those enzymes, but they don't know those are the same enzyme and have the same function. So for several decades, people were researching that problem. Everybody had a piece of solution of that problem, but nobody pieced the picture together. Eventually, Lorenzo's dad went to all the academic conferences and put things together and figured that it's only because the oil that Lorenzo's eating, if only he eats certain types of oil, that he wouldn't have that problem anymore. So, so when things get personal, finally, Lorenzo's dad finished up this never closed loop, that communication. So what I mean is that you need to communicate it right in scientific world. So those meetings are actually very important. The world should be your conference, like to get it, to save many people's life, like Lorenzo. I said I would never talk about politics, but this meeting thing is something to do with that current genetically modified babies. We'll talk about next time.